Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Terima kasih diucapkan kepada semua peserta yang hadir latihan pada petang ini. Untuk makluman, peserta boleh unmute mic untuk bertanya soalan secara langsung kepada penceramah dan juga boleh tinggalkan soalan di ruangan chat. Tanpa membuang masa, saya menjemput penceramah pada petang ini iaitu Prof. Madya Dr. Hazlina binti Ahamad Zakeri, pensyarah daripada Fakulti Sains dan Sekitaran Marin untuk memulakan latihan pada petang ini. Dipersilakan Doktor.
Terima kasih Dila. Okay,
Sama-sama.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Sekejap ya, saya share saya punya PowerPoint sekejap. Boleh nampak ke ni? Boleh kan?
Boleh Doktor.
Terima kasih. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. So first of all, thank you for participating in the talk this evening. Okay, so before we proceed with the talk, okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Hazlina Ahamad Zakeri. I'm actually a biochemist and as well as an OBE coordinator at the Faculty of Science and Marine Environment. I was one of the member of the OBE task force. Okay, OBE task force initially was formed in 2015. Yeah, the first time that the UMT is introduced into OBE. However, this task force has deformed in at the end or at the beginning of this year 2021. Yeah, and I'm one of the assessment module group, okay, in the OBE task force, which also include Dr. Shahreza, Dr. Nohayati, as well as Dr. Nazli. Okay, sebenarnya saya dah lama tinggal kenaan dengan assessment ni, cuma sesekali bila dipanggil untuk berceramah tu terpaksalah buka buku balik dan check balik dan belajar balik. So sebenarnya saya bukanlah pakar yang sebenarnya untuk di rujuk, tapi sekarang ni pun sebenarnya UMT sedang ada satu grup baru untuk OBE ni, so kemungkinan mereka akan ambil alih lah nanti berkenaan dengan latihan-latihan berkenaan OBE ni. Okay, so kita ada banyak ramai otai-otai lagi di UMT ni, seperti Dr. Mariam, Prof Maizura, Prof Amiza, Dr. Farida, Dr. Azhar, yang boleh dirujuk lah berkenaan dengan ini. Okay, so saya kalau boleh kalau ada di antara peserta hari ini yang lebih arif, mohon untuk juga kongsi ataupun share dengan kita supaya kita semua boleh belajar bersama-sama. Okay. So for the agenda for today, okay, for the content of the talk for today, I will first introduce about the so in the introduction is actually I'm going to revisit back about the OBE, what is OBE, what is constructive alignment, okay, and so on. What is assessment, okay, and then we go into the affective learning domain, and then the soft skills, which is also related actually to the affective learning domain, and then I will give you an example of a course that assess this affective learning domain as well as the soft skills. Okay, so these are the training outcomes. So you will be able to define the meaning of affective domain and its competency levels. So it's actually for today's training session, this is only a basic course for affective learning domain. Okay, so it will not go into much detail about the domain. Okay, And then define the meaning of soft skills in teaching and learning, as well as to identify suitable assessment strategies or methods and tools that could measure effective domain of intended learning outcome attainment. So for introduction, okay, so as you know, our work as a lecturer is multifaceted, and no responsibility is more important than assessing student performance. So teaching and learning is is one of the ataupun yang paling penting ya dalam kerjaya seorang pensyarah, okay? Dan salah satu daripada tanggungjawab seorang pensyarah adalah untuk menilai keberkesanan ataupun performance pelajar tersebut ya, sebab kalau kita tak tahu, kalau kita tidak nilai student performance, kita tak tahulah sama ada pelajar itu telah belajar atau tidak. Okay, so that is important ya for our responsibility as a lecturer. So assessment is an integral part of an outcome-based approach to teaching and learning. So it should be aligned also with the goals, objectives, curriculum or instruction, and also outcomes. So learning can be maximized. So this is the gist of outcome-based education or approach, yeah, which align all these goals or objectives or outcomes dengan the teaching and learning tools ataupun teaching and learning activities, as well as the assessment. So assessment is the process of getting information about what and how the students learn, and using this information to guide the instruction and as well as to boost the learning. And then we have what is known as this PDCA cycle, which is a 4-step cycle, okay, in which this 4-step cycles indicates what ataupun the change on our course, okay. So this is actually the pillar ataupun the principles that is used for continuous quality CQI kita, okay. So this PDCA cycle includes plan. Yes, so plan is what do I want my students to learn. Yes, we have to plan first. Ya, apa yang kita nak pelajar belajar ya di dalam kursus kita. Okay, kemudian kita ada do. So how do I help them learn effectively of what I want the students to learn. Okay, and then we have check. Have we achieved goals and outcomes? Okay. And last kali adalah act. How do I use the information I gathered? What adjustments and refinements should I do? So lepas kita check, kita assess the student. Okay, check kalau ada kita dah achieve atau achieve the goals ataupun outcomes yang kita telah plan tadi. Okay, and what do I do with the information tersebut? Sama ada kita nak retain ke atau kita nak increase lagi, enhance lagi kita punya teaching and learning activities untuk supaya pelajar lebih lagi ataupun increase the students punya performance after this. Okay, so this is all this PDCA, which is the CQI punya principles. Okay. And then actually assessments are not rigid, but they are flexible. So they are bergantung kepada kreativiti pensyarah masing-masing ya, sebab assessment untuk satu-satu kursus ataupun satu-satu kumpulan pelajar adalah tidak sama dengan assessment yang dijalankan di dalam classroom ataupun lecture ataupun group ataupun kursus yang lain. Okay, so dia tak sama. So dia adalah bergantung kepada profile pelajar tersebut. Yeah? So assessments are not rigid, but they are flexible. We can use any types of assessment. Yeah? Sama ada nak berbeza atau tidak dengan kursus ataupun kumpulan yang lain. Okay, so the concept of constructive alignment. Okay, so saya rasa semua orang dah tahu pasal OBE ni. So OBE is focus on students ataupun student-centered learning. Okay, di mana di dalam OBE ni ada tiga perkara ataupun elemen. Okay, satu adalah apa yang kita panggil sebagai intended learning outcomes, which are the statements specifying what the students will know and be able to do at the end of the course. Okay, and then we have this assessment element, which is ongoing process aims at improving students' learning by measuring the learning outcomes they have achieved. So feedback will be given so that students know what they need to do in order to get a better grade. So feedback is very, very important as well in the process of assessment. Yes, so in order for the students to know at what level is their competency, okay, ataupun sama ada mereka perform better compared to before. Okay, so feedback is very, very important di dalam assessment. Okay. Kemudian kita ada juga elemen terakhir di dalam OBE, which is the learning activities. So learning activities adalah the teaching and learning methods which the lecturers use to achieve each of the intended learning outcomes. Yes, students will know exactly why they are being asked to engage in certain DNL activities in their courses, because seperti yang anda tahu, ya, sebelum kita start kuliah ataupun at the first week of lecture, biasanya kita akan bagi ataupun beri kepada pelajar, ya, MyCA ke syllabus kita, yang di mana di dalam syllabus dan MyCA itu cuma semua ada all those important things that we have to convey to our students, so that the students know what actually is being assessed, what is being graded in the course. Okay, so so these three elements, the intended learning outcomes, the assessment, as well as the learning activities in OBE, must be aligned with each other in order for the OBE to realize maximally, okay, ataupun for the maximized learning to occur in our course. So a bit of cautions, yes. So wrong choice of TNL activities will definitely give a wrong assessment and also grading, and this will be reflected in the intended learning outcomes. Yeah? So kalau wrong assessment and grading, so it will not be able to measure the intended learning outcomes. So you have to plan well, so that the assessment doesn't fail. Kalau kita lihat kat kartun ni pun, theory exam ends now. Got that right. Kalau student kata okay, diingatkan betul, sebagainya, tapi sebenarnya questions still unclear, poorly worded, not on topic. So it's actually the students, walaupun dia kata betul jawapan dia boleh jawab semua soalan-soalan ni, tapi sebenarnya student ini fail because of this not the teaching and learning as well as the assessment does not align with the intended learning outcomes. So it is of utmost importance that the assessment tasks and teaching and learning activities are correctly implemented. Okay. So we have what is a backward design process. So this backward design process adalah when we want to design our course, ataupun our BE approach to, So this backward design process states that we have to have the end at the begins with the end in mind. Okay, so that is why it is known as backward design. So kita kena plan our course itu, okay, dengan apa sebenarnya kita nak pelajar kita belajar ataupun tahu di dalam kursus kita, bukan kita start dengan all this learning outcomes dulu, lepas tu masuk kepada assessment dan kemudian teaching and learning, tapi kita start dulu dengan what is actually we want to the students to learn. So this is by Wiggins and McTigger in 1998. Okay, states that stage 1, identify the desired results. Okay, which is what is it that I want the students to understand and know and be able to do. Okay, and then assessment, stage 2, so determine acceptable evidence for the intended learning outcomes. So how will I know what they know, what I want them to know? And then last kali stage 3, learning activities. So you plan your learning experiences from this assessment. So what do I need to do in the classroom to prepare them for the assessment? Okay, so what is actually an assessment? So assessment is a collection of information about the nature and extent of the learning outcomes or any procedure used to estimate the learner's learning. This includes evaluation of individuals' achievement of learning outcomes using a variety of assessment methods during or at the end of an educational program. So meaning here that assessment is done continuously ataupun sepanjang kursus tersebut berlangsung. Dia bukannya assessment berjalan pada hujung sahaja. So antara contohnya kalau macam setiap semester, setiap minggu dalam semester tu kita ada assessment kita. Okay, so assessment is done continuously during the implementation of the course. Okay, not at the end, only at the end of the course. Okay, so assessment is the process of gathering in evidence of what a learner knows, what the learner understands, and what is the learner able to do. So by doing assessments continuously during the course, you be able to gather all this evidence, so of what a learner knows, apa yang pelajar tahu, okay, what the learner understands, apa yang pelajar faham, okay, and what is the learner able to do, apa yang pelajar boleh buat. Okay, kalau kita nilai pada hujung sahaja, so kita tak nampak all this learning occurring ataupun occurs at the ataupun in the course. So types of assessment, kita ada sebenarnya ada dua yang major types of assessment, tapi kita ada satu lagi, ada tiga semuanya, types of assessment. The first one is known as the formative assessment. So this is an ongoing process to provide learners with immediate feedback on how well they are learning. So results of this assessment are documented but not included in computing grades. Okay, so biasanya formative assessment is an ongoing process, meaning that they are continuously ataupun consistently ataupun secara kerap dilakukan, dinilai, pelajar dinilai sepanjang kita punya kursus itu, tetapi evidence ataupun okay, the proof of this assessment ataupun the results of this assessment is taken Okay, however, it will not contribute to the evaluation yang kita buat ataupun kita beri grade kepada pelajar pada hujung kursus kita. Okay, so that is formative assessment. Compared to some summative assessment, so summative assessment, this is used to measure whether students have met the content and performance standards. So the results of this assessment are used as basis for computing grades. Okay, so this is at the end of the course. Okay, so we take this summative assessment ataupun the grades. Okay, so the results itu adalah based on the overall grades of the students, okay, at the end of the course tu. Dan biasanya summative assessment kita biasanya buat ataupun covers the complete ataupun keseluruhan kandungan kursus. Tapi kalau untuk formative assessment biasanya adalah berdasarkan kepada bukan keseluruhan tetapi ada parts of the content yang mungkin menilai domain ataupun learning domain yang berbeza. So this so some of the parts of the content of the course tu mungkin nilai katakan kognitif sahaja. Okay, so that is the difference between the formative and also the summative assessment. Okay, dan biasanya kalau untuk formative assessment tu adalah cara untuk kita monitor, memantau pembelajaran pelajar, sama ada pelajar ada tak peningkatan daripada segi pembelajaran mereka. Okay, so this is coming from formative assessment. So it's actually formative assessment focuses on the process of the student learning. However, for summative assessment, it emphasizes on the product of the learning, the student learning. And then we have continuous assessment. Apa yang berlaku di UMT, kita ada penilaian berterusan where this takes place during the course of the learning. So it usually involves a series of tasks individually assessed, okay, used when there are several distinct module learning outcomes that need to be achieved at various stages of a module. So used to lessen the burden of summative assessment. So it's actually continuous assessment is being graded, graded, sama macam summative assessment. Tetapi summative assessment at the end, cuma continuous assessment during the course of learning tu kita ada grade ataupun kita beri grade kepada mereka ataupun markah kepada mereka. Dan biasanya contohnya kalau kita kursus kita ada kadang-kadang tu ada banyak jenis learning outcomes yang kita nak nilai. Okay, and all these learning outcomes assess different parts of the content of the course. Then this one contributes to the overall grade of the our course. So this is so kita bagi task kepada mereka, and then we take this grade ataupun markah tersebut untuk dicampurkan bersama-sama dengan summative assessment. So ini apa yang berlaku di dalam UMT sekarang, kita gunakan this continuous assessment as well. Okay. Cuma ada ada juga kursus yang buat summative assessment as well as the continuous assessment, tetapi dia tak ada formative assessment berlaku di dalam kelas mereka. So it's actually there should be both this formative as well as the summative assessment incorporated within a course. So kalau daripada formative assessment tu kita tahu, kita kumpul the evidence, the results tu, kita nilai, kita assess ataupun dan kita gather the evidence, the information tu. Kalau kita nampak ada student yang tidak yang tidak perform contohnya, so kita boleh boost the learning of that student, kita boleh tingkatkan pencapaian student tersebut melalui this formative assessment. Okay, so formative assessment is also very important di dalam sesuatu kursus ya. Sebab sekarang ni kebanyakannya kursus ya, mungkin hanya ada summative dan juga continuous assessment sahaja, tetapi dia tidak ada formative assessment. So formative assessment ni contohnya macam kalau kita buat reflective selepas saja kuliah, contohnya ya, kita buat reflection sedikit, so that is a form of formative. Kita juga boleh buat macam discussion, kita ada think pair, share the active learning punya methods. Okay, so that can be also in the form of formative assessments. Okay. So very simple je kalau kita nak buat dekat dalam kelas kita ya, hujung kuliah tu lepas satu-satu topik tu ya, kita boleh minta mereka buat reflection and on what they have learned during that lecture, ataupun kita boleh buat macam Madya punya Madya points ya, di mana pelajar akan tulis ataupun beri what are the points that they need clarification during the course ataupun the topic yang dia pelajar. Okay, so in the next class tu kita boleh explain more on this Madya points tersebut. Okay, so it's very important. It's very senang aja nak buat this formative assessment. So in a class should be have both this formative as well as the summative assessments, not only summative and also continuous. Okay, so it is important to recognize that both summative and formative assessments indicate the purpose of assessment. So there are the tiga purposes of assessment kat sini. Kita ada assessment of learning, kita ada assessment for learning, as well as the assessment as learning. Okay, so saya rasa ramai rakan-rakan yang dah tahu apa itu assessment of learning, for learning, and as learning. Okay, so yang traditional tu biasanya kita punya this yang biasa dulu kita buat tu adalah assessment of learning. Okay, yang hanya ada summative assessment sahaja. Tetapi untuk for learning, as learning yang sekarang ni is more to student centered learning. Okay, di mana both ada termasuk di dalam formative assessment ya, for learning and as learning. Okay, so both summative and formative assessment indicate the purpose and not the method of the assessment. So assessment approaches, there are the dua assessment approaches. This is one is known as the traditional assessments. Okay, so traditional assessments refer to conventional methods of testing. You usually standardize and use pen and paper with multiple choice, true or false or matching type test items. So ada setengah kursus sekarang ni masih lagi menggunakan ataupun menggunakan traditional assessment. Okay. However, we have another types of assessment approach, which is known as authentic assessment. Okay, so this authentic assessment refer to assessments wherein students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate meaningful application of what they have learned. So this authentic assessment is also known as alternative ataupun performance-based assessments. Okay, so this is more kepada OBE punya GIS sekarang, yang more kepada student centered learning. So it is a good practice to communicate the assessment plan to students in writing. So provide course description, general format of course, instructional materials, assessment methods, mark apportionment and grading criteria, schedule of the assessment, semua ni kena beri kepada pelajar at the end, at the start of the course. Kita mesti beri kepada pelajar supaya pelajar tahu apa yang berlaku di dalam kursus tersebut. So kita boleh letakkan ataupun berikan kita punya MyCA ataupun syllabus kepada pelajar. Okay, so provide ongoing feedback on students' performance as the class progresses. So this is also very, very important. Okay, kalau boleh, feedback diberi sehari selepas, supaya pelajar boleh tahu kat mana dia salah dan kat mana dia boleh improve. Okay, dan kita juga boleh tahu kat mana di mana tahap pelajar, performance pelajar ataupun competency level of students. Okay. And number on complexity of assignments to be given commensurate with credit load of the course. Okay. So janganlah kredit course kredit dia 2 jam kredit tetapi dia punya assignments bukan main banyak lagi dan kompleks pula tu semua nak dinilai, so tak boleh macam tu so it's commensurate with the complexity and also the number of the assignments must commensurate with the credit load of the course so you boleh gunakan this MQA guidelines diberi for determining the student learning time. And should provide opportunities for students to display their knowledge, talents, competencies, and or skills according to the ILO. So the assessment should be diversified. Dibanyakkan, tapi walaupun diminta untuk banyak, kita nilai all those 3 domains, cognitive, the psychomotor dan juga assessment, tetapi janganlah terlalu banyak sangat seperti yang macam yang ke atas tadi, mestilah commensurate with credit load walaupun tapi ada sesetengah kursus yang mungkin tak ada macam psychomotor, so dia boleh nilai cognitive dan juga affective level ataupun the domain. So mesti diversified the assessments tersebut. Okay, now we go to the affective domain. Okay, so kita revisit dulu the learning domains. So kita ada 3 learning domains. We have cognitive, which deals with how we acquire, process, and use knowledge. So it is the thinking domain. And then we have the psychomotor domain, which deals with manual ataupun physical skills. So it is the doing domain. So basically untuk psychomotor ni is we must observe the students for psychomotor. Okay. And then the affective domain, which will be that we will be focusing in today's talk. Okay, so we have the 11 learning outcomes. So this 11 learning outcomes sekarang ni kita cuma ada 9 saja setakat ini untuk semester ini. Tapi semester akan datang kita akan guna this 11 learning outcomes. Okay, will be implemented starting September semester 1 2021. We have 11 here. So includes LO1 knowledge and understanding, LO2 is practical skills, LO3 the cognitive skills, okay, and then we have the communication skills, the interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills yang dulu termasuk the social skills, the teamwork, and also the responsibility. So kita ada sekarang ni dikenali sebagai interpersonal skills. Okay, kemudian LO6 kita ada ethics and professionalism. LO7 personal skills. So personal skills termasuk the lifelong learning skills. Okay, kemudian kita ada LO8 entrepreneurial skills. LO9 leadership, autonomy and responsibility. Okay, so LO10 kita ada yang baru, LO10 dan juga LO11 which are digital skills and also numeracy skills. Okay, so among these 11 learning outcomes, yeah, the ones that assess, yeah, or is assessed by affective domain includes LO4, communication skills, interpersonal skills, ethics and professionalism, personal skills, entrepreneurial skills, leadership, autonomy and responsibility, as well as digital skills. So all these learning outcomes, kita ada 2, 4, 6, 7 learning outcomes ini akan hanya menilai affective. Kecuali untuk digital skills, so digital skills akan menilai selain daripada affective, dia juga akan menilai kognitif dan juga psikomotor. Okay, so ada 7 learning outcomes yang menilai affective domain. Okay, so what is the relevance of the affective domain in education? Okay, so through teaching, we are encouraging students to not just receive information at the bottom of the affective hierarchy, but as educators, we would like for them to respond to what they have learned, to value it, to organize it, and maybe even to characterize themselves as students of our programs. So, okay, in affective domain, kalau kita lihat nanti, it starts with receiving information, yeah, kemudian develops into respond, yeah, to what they have learned, and then to value it, to organize, and then the highest level of affective domain is to characterize themselves. So meaning here that dalam pengajaran, ya, kita bukan hanya encourage the students to receive sahaja information, okay, tetapi kita nak mereka respond, ya, kepada apa yang mereka telah belajar, ya, untuk mereka meletakkan nilai kepada apa yang mereka belajar, ya, dan mereka dapat menyusun ataupun organize all the informations, all the values, ya, dan prioritize mana yang paling utama dan sebagainya, ataupun yang paling tinggi sekali kita boleh kita nak pelajar itu menerapkan, ya, apa yang telah nilai yang telah mereka dapat itu daripada kursus kita di dalam dia punya kerja harian mereka, okay, ataupun di dalam kehidupan mereka. Okay, so not just receive information, tapi kita naklah mereka ada all these characteristics. So even though dan kalau kita lihat sebenarnya affective domain adalah dalam tiga domain Bloom's taxonomy punya domains tu. Okay, affective domain adalah yang the least being studied, the most often overlooked, and then the most nebulous, meaning that they are most ill-defined and also vague, very vague, and the hardest to evaluate. So kalau kita lihat kat sini, sebab affective domain ni dia melibatkan perasaan dan dia punya tingkah laku, attitudes, emotion ni semua ni dia start dengan a very biasa ataupun basic punya emotions ataupun feelings ataupun attitudes, ya, kepada a more complex one, ya, daripada receiving saja information ataupun awareness, ya, create awareness for their environment sehinggalah kepada characterizing. So kita nak nilai dia secara objektif is actually very difficult, ya. However, the affective domain is essential. It's very essential for learning. So termasuk juga ataupun bersama dengan the other two learning domains. Okay. So affective domain can significantly enhance, inhibit, or prevent or even prevent student learning. Okay. So by affective domain, sebab dia berkaitan dengan emotions, feelings, motivation, enthusiasm of the students. Okay, so kalau affective domain mereka rendah, so dia boleh inhibits atau dia boleh prevent the student from learning. So affective domain ataupun peningkatan the affective domain in the student should be ataupun kita kena nilai lah, kita kena tengok this aspect of the learning of the students, so that it will not hinders the students from learning. Okay, and in order to develop quality human capital, the empowerment of the affective domain among graduates is a matter that needs to be given priority. So the level of achievement of this affective domain needs to be improved to ensure that the graduates who are born are dynamic and global graduates. So bila kita sebut sebenarnya berkenaan dengan affective domain, kita akan kaitkan dia juga dengan soft skills ataupun kemahiran insaniah. Okay, so this kemahiran insaniah, which are generic skills ataupun employability skills, so are very important when the students ataupun graduates kita keluar daripada program ataupun daripada universiti. Yeah, so macam mana dia nak bawa diri mereka di luar sana. Adakah mereka boleh compete secara nationally ataupun globally? Adakah mereka ni dynamic? So it's very important that the students have increase ataupun the level of the achievement of the affective domains are improving daripada start dia masuk hinggalah dia keluar. So that is very so affective domain is also very important and also essential di dalam education ataupun pendidikan. Okay, so what is actually affective domain? Okay, so affective domain is the valuing domain. Deal with things emotionally, such as feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasms, motivations, and also attitudes, demonstrated by behaviors indicating attitudes of awareness, taken interest, attention, concern, responsibility, ability to listen and respond in interactions with others, and ability to demonstrate those attitudinal characteristics or values which are appropriate to the task situation and the field of study. So affective domain is based on 5 levels of competency based on Krathwohl et al. In 1964. So we have 5 levels of competency for affective. Okay, this include the most basic is receiving A1, and then we have responding A2, valuing A3, organizing A4, dan last kali kita ada internalizing value ataupun characterization A5. So receiving and responding are basic competency levels for affective domain. Valuing and organizing is intermediate competency levels of affective domain, while the advanced level of affective domain is internalizing values ataupun characterizing. Okay. So kita tengok dulu kepada receiving. What is actually receiving? A1. So description demonstrates a willingness ataupun awareness to participate in the activity. However, the willingness and also awareness are passive. Okay, so passively paying attention. So this receiving competency levels creates the awareness of feelings and emotions, as well as the ability to utilize selected attention. Okay, so for example, we have listens to the lecturer very attentively, or include listening attentively to lessons in class, so that is receiving. Yeah, and also taking notes during lecture or activity can also be considered as receiving. Yeah. So kalau kita nampak student duduk saja dan tengok ataupun dengar kuliah kita, ya, so itu di consider sebagai receiving. So very small emotions punya apa ataupun attitudes punya apa very small attitudes punya inilah, ya. Okay, ataupun diorang taking notes during lecture can also be receiving. Ataupun ya, contoh lain kalau dia awareness ni, kalau contohnya kalau ada orang baru masuk dalam kelas, kita perkenalkan mereka ataupun orang baru tersebut kepada student kita, so dia boleh ingat the nama pelajar tersebut, pelajar baru tersebut, so that can also be considered as receiving. And then responding A2 shows interest in the objects, phenomena or activity by seeking it out or pursuing it for pleasure. So kita ada actively learning and reacting. So kita ada tadi macam receiving ni macam passive aja. Dia cuma duduk dan lihat atau mendengar, itu sahaja. Ya, tak ada apa-apa yang berlaku. Tetapi untuk responding ni dia ada respond. Ya, dia ada shows interest, some interest in what in the concept ataupun ideas ataupun beliefs yang kita ajar kepada mereka. Okay, so this could be falls into the responding to. So learning outcomes of this responding may emphasize compliance in responding, willingness to respond, ataupun satisfaction in responding. Okay. For example, when the student completes assignment, so that can consider be responding, participates in class discussion, as well as ask questions involuntarily, can also be falls into responding competency level of affective domain. Kemudian valuing, internalizes an appreciation for values the objectives, phenomena ataupun activity. So it's actually valuing is where the students attach worth ataupun nilai kepada informasi ataupun maklumat yang dia dapat. Okay. For example, here we have seeks out information in popular media related to class, showing commitment ataupun seriousness to a certain things, and persistent and diligent in learning certain areas. So untuk valuing ranges from simple acceptance to the more complex state of commitment, and valuing is based on this internalization of a set of specified values, while clues to these values are expressed in the learner's behavior and often identifiable. Okay, kita boleh nampaklah pelajar, kalau pelajar ini ada valuing competency level ni daripada tingkah laku dia. Contohnya kat sini macam kalau lihat dekat gambar ni, pelajar ni beria-ria sangat, nak tarik pukat tu, orang lain semua relax saja kan kat belakang tu kan, dia seorang aja yang ni, so dia show seriousness dalam doing. So kita boleh identify dia dekat situ. Okay, so this student has this valuing competency levels of affective domain. And then we have the organizing. So organizing begins to compare different values and resolves conflicts between them to form an internally consistent system of values. So dia becomes more complex punya behavior. Okay, so in organizing, the students should be able to arrange and elaborate on information. Ya, dia ada beberapa banyak values dekat situ yang dia dapat daripada valuing tadi contohnya, and then from these values dia boleh nampak kat mana which value is more important, ya, dia boleh prioritize which values, dia boleh letakkan okay this value is at the first rank and this one value is at the second rank dan sebagainya. Okay, so dia boleh prioritize based on the pros and the cons, dia boleh bezakan lah, ya, all these values, so dia boleh organize, arrange and also elaborate on the information. For example, here we have resolves the differences in ideas learned in class and own beliefs. Yeah. Dia boleh nampak perbezaan antara ideas yang dibelajar di dalam kelas dan juga ideas yang dia dah ada, ya, dalam dirinya. Yeah, so dia boleh nampak perbezaan dekat situ. Okay. And then accepts responsibility for one's behavior. So kalau nampak kat gambar kat sini, kalau katakan kelas tu okay start pukul 2, so tapi datangnya pukul 3 atau 2.10, okay. So kalau yang pukul 2 tu dia boleh accept responsibility. So kalau pelajar kemudiannya kalau 2.10 tiba-tiba pintu bilik kuliah dikunci. So dia tidak akan marah kepada pensyarah tersebutlah sebab dia tahu yang dia salah, ya. So maksudnya dekat sini dia dah boleh tahu yang kelakuan dia, attitudes dia ataupun dia punya tu adalah wrong dekat situ. So dia boleh accept the responsibility, ya, untuk behavior dia. Okay. And recognizing own abilities, limitations and values and developing realistic aspirations. So dia boleh nampak kebolehan dia, apakah had yang dia ada, okay, and also this values dia, dia boleh nampak kat situ. So dia boleh dan kemudian dia boleh jadikan all these abilities, limitations dan values itu untuk dia excel lagi, okay, untuk dicapai dia punya aspiration. So dia itu termasuk dalam organizing. And the last one is internalizing value ataupun characterization. Okay, so this is the most complex of affective domain, advanced affective domain. So adopts a long-term value system that is pervasive, consistent and predictable. So valuing belief that influences behavior. So daripada organizing tadi, dia dah boleh tahu, okay, this one value ini adalah paling utama sekali. So dia adopt, dia masuk ataupun diserapkan atau dia masukkan that value ke dalam dirinya dan kemudian dia akan gunakan that value di dalam kehidupan dia, ya. So dia that value influence dia punya behavior. Okay, so this value, these beliefs ataupun values itu can be pervasive, ya, consistent dan juga predictable. Pervasive meaning that is diserap di dalam ataupun internalize di dalam dia punya diri, dimasukkan, dah ada diterapkan ke dalam diri dia. Okay, that value. Okay, dan dia believe that value is the correct value kepada dia. Dan consistent meaning that value itu tidak ataupun behavior tersebut ataupun attitudes tersebut, motivation tersebut tidak berubah mengikut keadaan. Okay, dan juga this one is predictable, so that beliefs, the ideas ataupun the motivations dan behavior tersebut adalah predictable, boleh diramal, ya. So that is internalizing value. So contohnya kita ada practicing what they have learned into their life, shows self-reliance when working independently, dia boleh bekerja secara independent, okay, displays a professional commitment to ethical practice on a daily basis. Okay. So untuk affective domain, untuk undergraduates cuma capai kepada valuing saja A3 yang paling tinggi, tetapi untuk a more advanced programs like ataupun macam masters dan PhD boleh sampai kepada internalizing ataupun characterization. Okay. Okay. So for example here, yeah. Okay, so contohnya ya, katakanlah kita mengajar khusus pasal civil rights. Okay, civil rights. Okay, dan kita nak tengok, kita nak track the competency levels of the student daripada A1 receiving sampailah kepada A5 which is internalizing values. Okay, so macam mana kita nak lihat? Okay, so first kali level receiving A1, kalau student tersebut would read a book passage about civil rights, so that will be receiving. Dia baca sahaja, okay, satu paragraph di dalam buku textbook pasal civil rights. Okay, so that should be falls into receiving level. Okay, tetapi kalau dia answer questions about the book, about the passage, kemudian dia pergi pula read another book by the same author ke ataupun another book about the civil rights. So dia ada respond kat situ, responding, respond, so dia show new behaviors as result of the experience yang tadi to receiving tadi. Okay, so that will fall into responding. And then bukan sahaja dia answer questions, read another book atau about same author atau about civil rights, tetapi dia demonstrate involuntarily attending a lecture on civil rights. Okay. Dia involuntarily attending another lecture, bukan lecture kita tapi another lecture about the civil rights. So dia show valuing level dekat sini, so showing some definite involvement ataupun commitment dekat sini. Okay, so dia tercapai level valuing. Okay, and then the student might arrange a civil rights rally. Okay, so this would be organizing, so integrating a new value into one's general sets of values, giving it some ranking among one's general priorities. Okay, so dia mungkin dia attend a lecture, another lecture on civil rights, kemudian dia attend juga lecture kita on similar civil rights, tapi daripada situ mungkin information ataupun values yang dia dapat, beliefs yang dia dapat, the ideas, concepts yang dia dapat itu ada yang berbeza, so dia boleh organize, dia boleh elaborate, dia boleh arrange these values, dia boleh rank these values di mana satu yang paling utama dan sebagainya. So daripada situ, dia boleh arrange this rally, this civil rights rally. So that student has achieved the organizing punya level. Okay. Okay, and then internalizing values. Okay, acting consistently with the new value. Okay, so dia gunakan the value yang didapat daripada organizing, yang the first rank values tadi yang paling ataupun the ideas or concepts yang paling tinggi ataupun yang paling ranking yang paling tinggi sekali. So digunakan this one, diterapkan dalam diri dia. Okay, so mungkin student ini firmly committed to the value, perhaps by becoming a civil rights leader. Yes, so dia boleh jadi the leader. Yes, sebab dia tahu this value ataupun this beliefs ataupun ideas, the concept itu yang paling yang dia paling utama, yang dia rasa paling utama sekali dalam diri dia. Okay, dan dia gunakan that one untuk dia jadi pemimpin kepada civil rights punya persatuan dan sebagainya. Okay, so that is, kalau kita nampak dekat situ, there is an improvement of students' attitudes ataupun behaviors, daripada receiving sampailah kepada internalizing values. Okay, so dekat sini sebenarnya untuk affective domain ni, is actually all the formative assessments yang kita guna, yang kita buat dalam kelas ataupun all the teaching and learning activities yang kita jalankan, methods yang kita jalankan dalam kelas itu, mestilah kita nampak dia ada peningkatan of that. Contohnya kalau kita tengok, kalau kita hanya nak menilai sampai valuing sahaja, okay, so pelajar itu daripada awal, daripada start tu, kita boleh nampak dia punya level tu, daripada receiving itu, kemudian dia ada responding, barulah dia boleh capai kepada valuing tu. Okay, so kita nampak kita ada tracking of the behaviors ataupun the change in the behaviors ataupun attitudes ataupun emotions mereka ataupun motivation mereka. Okay, so kita nampak this one. That is why formative assessment is very very important di dalam kelas, supaya kita nampak all this performance ataupun peningkatan dalam this domain yang kita nak nilai tadi. Okay, dan it's also very important semasa kita di dalam kelas, kalau ada kursus yang menilai this affective domain ni, kadang-kadang this affective domain of the students ni dia boleh dia boleh apa saya nak cakap, dia apa dah, sorry, behavior student tersebut, kadang-kadang tu dia boleh ikut cara lecturer tu. So untuk kita nak nilai this affective domain tu, so teaching and learning methods kita, mestilah tak ada benda-benda yang negatif. Meaning here that masa kita mengajar pun, lecturer katakanlah kita janganlah mengajar secara penuh dengan sarcasm ke dan sebagainya, kita marah-marah dan sebagainya, sebab itu boleh juga dia boleh juga reflect kepada student. So kemungkinan kat situ juga dia boleh dia boleh reflect lah kepada behavior of the students tu. Okay, so it's also very very important di dalam ni. Okay, so cara ataupun assessing, kalau kita nak assess student punya affective domain ni, so the teaching and learning activities should also align to the affective domain tersebut. Apa yang kita nak pelajar tu capai, dan kita boleh nampaklah dia punya peningkatan tersebut, student tersebut. Okay. Okay, so bagaimana untuk assess? So assessment strategies ataupun methods that you can use to assess affective domain. Okay, so assess strategies ataupun methods are ways to collect data on what have been achieved ataupun attained. Okay, so these are some of the examples of assessment strategy and methods based on the learning outcomes. Contohnya macam communication skills, we can assess the students' affective domains through posters, presentations, reports, video, audio ataupun simulations. Interpersonal skills adalah contoh macam social skills dan juga teamwork tu, through peer assessment, interviews ataupun reports. Ethics and professionalism through posters, interviews, video, audio or portfolio. Personal skills, lifelong learning, portfolios, reflective journals, article ataupun literature reviews. Entrepreneurial skills through posters, concept maps, reports, conducting a mock business, kita boleh nilai. menggunakan that kind of strategy ataupun methods, leadership, autonomy and responsibility through self-assessment, peer assessment, portfolio, presentations, group projects ataupun debates. And last kali untuk digital skills, through reports, apps ataupun programming development, design blueprint dan juga simulations. However, there is no one best assessment method for the classroom. What works for one classroom may not work well for another classroom. Okay. Dan kalau boleh, kalau kita mengajar kursus yang sama, so we should diversify ataupun we should change the strategy daripada satu semester kepada semester yang lain. So bila kita dah nampak that strategy increase atau enhance the performance of students through the affective domain, so we can use that strategy ataupun method. So there is no one best assessment method for the classroom. So it depends on the creativity of the educators ataupun the lecturers. Assessment tools ataupun instruments, measuring device used for learners to qualitatively and quantitatively provide direct and indirect evidences of learning, and for teachers, curriculum designers and administrators to collect direct and indirect evidences of students' learning gains and overall students' learning experience. So kita nak collect all the evidences whether the learning has been occurring in our course. So we can use this assessment tools ataupun instruments untuk nilai assess affective domain. Okay, so examples of tools, we have rubrics, checklists, checkpoint, surveys, sama ada melalui research journal ataupun brief structured interviews. So antara this example of tools, most used, ada satu lagi adalah reflective journal. So most used adalah rubrics dan juga checklist. Tapi yang paling simple sekali, kita boleh just gunakan checklist sahaja untuk collect this direct and indirect evidences of learning of the affective domain, learning of the students. Okay, so most sekarang ni kalau di UNT kebanyakannya akan gunakan this rubrics. Okay, so rubrics as an assessment tool is a scoring guide composed of criteria used to evaluate performance. A product ataupun a project, defines what will be assessed, enable students to identify what the lecturer expects from their work submission. So in satu-satu assessment yang kita nak jalankan, kita perlulah juga berikan this rubrics kepada pelajar supaya pelajar boleh nampak identify what ataupun dekat mana, kriteria mana yang akan dinilai melalui that assignment ataupun the task being given. Okay, so allows evaluation according to specified criteria, making grading and ranking simpler, fairer and more transparent. Okay, so by rubrics, gunakan satu rubrics, kita hanya ada so kita tidak ada bias, tidak akan berlaku bias antara the different lecturers, sebab kadang-kadang tu kalau satu kursus tu ataupun assignment tu ada banyak panels of examiners. Okay, so by ada rubrics ni, so kita tak akan nampak ada perbezaan yang ketara antara penilaian dari satu panel of examiner dengan panel of examiner yang lain. Okay, so this important for rubrics. Kebanyakannya sekarang ni semua gunakan rubrics sebagai assessment tool. Dan alhamdulillah kita ada satu buku panduan untuk penghasilan ataupun pembentukan rubrics yang dikeluarkan oleh Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi. However, this one is for 2016, tapi ini adalah most based on the the 9 learning outcomes. Okay, tetapi however it's actually tak ada banyak sangat perbezaan antara the 11 and also kecuali pada dua yang baru itulah the numeracy and juga digital skills tu. Okay, Tapi numeracy is actually covers cognitive. Okay, tetapi kognitif pun boleh juga gunakan sebagai rubrics sebagai itu. So kita ada this buku panduan untuk menghasilkan rubrics kat situ. So dia boleh gunakan this buku ICGPA panduan pentaksiran hasil pembelajaran ini untuk hasilkan rubrics untuk kita punya course. Okay, so semenjak daripada awal tadi saya dah tekankan kepada the importance of giving feedback, okay, maklum balas kepada student. So providing students with feedback on their progress is one of the most important features of assessment. Kita bukan saja buat assessment, tapi kita kena ada feedback supaya pelajar boleh tahu dekat mana ataupun dia boleh kenal, identify at which level yang dia ada pada masa tersebut. Okay, so it's, giving feedback is the most important features of assessment. Okay, so it has been found that whether or not lecturers provide students with helpful feedback has a bigger impact on student learning and satisfaction than anything else. Okay, so giving feedback will have a bigger impact on the student learning and also satisfaction. Okay. So feedback that is generally considered most helpful ataupun effective adalah which identifies and positively reinforces what was done well. So dalam feedback tersebut bukan hanya ada markah ataupun ada grade dan sebagainya, tetapi perlulah juga ada komen-komen. So mungkin kita boleh baiki contohnya dan sebagainya. Dan kadang-kadang juga ada juga setengah pensyarah yang dibagi assignment is actually a summative punya assignment sebab dia bagi ataupun continuous assessment dia dia akan bagi markah kat situ, tetapi dia beri peluang kepada pelajar untuk hantar kepada pensyarah tersebut untuk dia komen. Okay, so by this comment dia so pelajar akan baiki dan the final assessment ataupun assignment tersebut adalah yang dah tip top dah. Okay, so that is also a very good ways ataupun techniques ataupun methods yang kita boleh buat untuk pelajar belajar ataupun improve their learning. Okay. So makes useful suggestions about specific ways students could improve their work or change their approach for future work. So dia mestilah ada komen juga ataupun suggestion, cadangan. Corrects misapprehensions revealed in the work. So ada juga kadang-kadang untuk assignment tu pelajar ni kadang-kadang dia copy and paste sahaja tanpa memahami apa yang dia copy and paste tersebut. So mungkin yang copy and paste tu tak ada kena-mengena pun dengan assignment dia sebenarnya, ataupun tak ada kena ataupun salah apa ideas ataupun konsep yang dia beri itu. So kita boleh correct the wrong ideas or concept tersebut daripada feedback. Okay. Is respectful of the individuality and worth of each student. So dalam feedback tu juga janganlah tulis benda-benda yang negatif macam marah ke, buat muka yang ataupun lukis emoticons yang marah dan sebagainya. So respect the students and also the worth of each student, because student ni sebab dia baru belajar kan. Okay, so mungkin dia tidak faham lagi ataupun dia punya level of competency tu masih tak berubah dan sebagainya. Okay, so that is also why feedback is important. Okay, so is timely, it comes when it still matters to students and when they can make the most of it. So janganlah katakanlah selepas final exam baru nak bagi feedback kepada pelajar ataupun baru nak hantar balik assignment yang dia buat tu. Selepas semua dah habis baru nak bagi. So yang paling cepat sekali adalah sehari selepas assignment dia buat tu. Kita bagi assignment tu, suruh dia hantar, so sehari selepas tu kita grade dan kita bagi. So So feedback should be timely, comes when it still matters to students. Enable students to refine their capacity to use information to judge themselves in relation to similar work ataupun situations. Okay, so pelajar boleh tahulah daripada giving feedback tu, dia boleh tahu capacity dia, ability dia, kat mana dia sekarang, dia punya performance, level of competency dia dan sebagainya. Okay, dan dia boleh by giving feedback juga dia boleh compares dengan dia punya peers, dengan kawan-kawan dia. Oh, okay, yang ini saya salah. Oh, mungkin dekat sini saya salah. So dia juga boleh belajar daripada komen ataupun feedback rakan-rakan dia. So bagaimana kita boleh give feedback? Ya, ada banyak cara sebenarnya untuk kita bagi maklum balas ataupun feedback. Rubrics. Okay. So kalau contohnya kalau kita bagi rubrics kat student, so kita student dapat balik kita punya tu, dia boleh nampak lah. Okay, kat sini sebenarnya, oh kenapa saya dapat 4, kenapa kawan saya dapat 5. So dia boleh nampak lah kat situ daripada rubrics. Okay, and then written comments ataupun audio comments and ataupun one-to-one meetings. So audio comments ni kita ada satu apps di dalam Google, Chrome punya store tu, Chrome Store tu, kita ada satu apps yang dipanggil sebagai Kaizena. Okay, so Kaizena ni kita boleh bagi comments written dan juga by audio. Kita boleh record our audio, kita boleh highlights the ones ataupun perkataan sentence yang salah dan sebagainya itu, kemudian kita boleh record our audio. So that is audio comments, Kaizena nama dia. Okay, so that is also very good apps ataupun tools yang kita boleh guna untuk give feedback. Sebab kadang-kadang ni kalau pelajar dia dengar suara kita, dia lebih fokus daripada tengok written comments yang nampak merah-merah banyak sangat tu, dia jadi macam down dan sebagainya kan. Okay. Okay, so bila kita sebut pasal affective domain, okay, so we also relate these affective domains with soft skills. Okay, so what are actually soft skills? So what soft skills are the intra and interpersonal skills essential for personal development, social participation, as well as the workplace success. Okay, soft skills ini termasuk kemahiran intra, and interpersonal, dalam diri pelajar dan juga di sekeliling pelajar. Okay, so personal development, social participation, and also workplace success comprise of a group of generic or employability skills that touches the individual and also the group skills. A critical element in the globalized working world. Okay, soft skills ni biasanya banyak diperlukan di dalam working ataupun career punya world. Okay. Enable competent and skillful graduates in the working sector which contribute to the development of the organisation and the nation. So sekarang ni kalau kita lihat company-company sekarang, industri-industri sekarang nak cari pekerja, dia akan nampak, dia akan tengok the soft skills of the students. Okay. So sebenarnya the soft skills ataupun the generic skills that use ataupun yang applied by soft skills actually is across various learning domain. Dia ada dalam dia akan menilai kognitif, dia juga akan menilai affective. So di dalam education, affective learning domain is considered as soft skills. Okay. So all the learning outcomes yang involve ataupun assess affective learning domain can be considered as soft skills. So dia ada dua sebenarnya, dia ada soft skills, dia ada hard skills. So hard skills tu is more on technical punya skills, macam practical skills, the LO2 tu can be considered as hard skills. Okay. So soft skills are divided into two categories. Kita ada what is known as KIM, which is kemahiran insaniah mesti or a must-have soft skill, an element in the generic skill that is required for every student to acquire. So student who did not possess the skill, he or she is considered incompetent in the related element. Okay, so there is KIM ataupun kemahiran insaniah mesti, must have soft skill. And another one is KIT or kemahiran insaniah tambahan, good to have soft skill ataupun tambahan kepada kemahiran insaniah mesti, so an element in the generic skill which gives added value to the student. So if the skill is possessed together with KIM, he or she is considered as being competent in the related element. So it's actually, kalau saya boleh tambah dekat sini, this soft skills sebenarnya bukannya sekadar merujuk kepada satu kursus sahaja, bukan specifically untuk satu kursus, tapi sebenarnya soft skills ini secara keseluruhan ni, yang KIM dengan KIT ni mesti diterapkan ke dalam pelajar untuk program tersebut. Okay, so mungkin dalam satu program tu mungkin ada kursus-kursus lain yang boleh contribute to this scheme and also to this kit of the soft skills ni. Kemahiran insaniah mesti dan kemahiran insaniah tambahan. Okay. So learning outcomes that can assess soft skills. Kita ada cognitive skills, communication skills, interpersonal skills, ethics and professionalism, personal skills, entrepreneurial skills, the leadership, autonomy and responsibility, the digital skills as well as the numeracy skills. So daripada LO4 sampai LO11 adalah yang menilai affective domain. Cognitive skills and numeracy skills, they are HOTS ataupun higher order thinking skills. Okay, so they are involved in cognitive domain. Okay, seperti yang saya katakan, soft skills, they are dia banyak kan, dia can assess either the cognitive skills ataupun the affective skills ataupun affective domain. So soft skills ini juga dipanggil sebagai transferable skills ataupun juga dipanggil sebagai interpersonal skills ataupun the intrapersonal skills, nama lain dia. Okay. So all soft skills should be integrated in the teaching and learning at institutions of higher learning. It should not be considered as a hidden curriculum or less important. It should be applied and evaluated effectively according to the stipulated assessment and evaluation system. Okay, so kita ada satu buku, modul pembangunan kemahiran insaniah or soft skills untuk Institusi Pengajian Tinggi Malaysia yang dikeluarkan oleh UPM. Okay, pada tahun 2006. Saya cuba cari di dalam Google buku ini, tapi buku ini dah tak ada soft copy di dalam tu. Okay, so this, kalau ada peserta yang ada buku ni, okay, so this is very good. You can read this book, modul pembangunan kemahiran insaniah, soft skills untuk Institusi Pengajian Tinggi Malaysia, untuk dijadikan panduan how to develop rubrics on soft skills. Okay. So what is the relationship between the soft skills as well as the affective domain ataupun the cognitive domain tersebut? Okay, so kita ada the affective domain. Okay, so we have all this affective level, A1 sampai A5, which is the level of affective in student when implementing required skill during teaching and learning. Di dalam the affective domain, we have these soft skills. Okay, the 9 soft skills elements yang boleh nilai this affective domain. We have this LO3, LO4 sampai LO11. Okay, in which in the soft skills we have the generic skills of students for each soft skill elements, which categorized into kemahiran insaniah mesti, a must-have and required for every student. And then we have the kemahiran insaniah tambahan, a good to have, not compulsory but should be encouraged. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the, yang ini mungkin lama dulu, yang ikut lama punya LO, kita ada critical thinking and problem solving skills kat sini. Okay, so sekarang ni kita tak ada, belum ada yang terkini, tapi masih lagi applicable, boleh digunakan untuk ni, okay, untuk develop course, okay. So LO3 kita ada 3 KIM dekat sini, kalau kita nampak sini, ability to identify and analyze problems, ability to expand and improve thinking skills, and ability to find ideas. So pelajar perlu ada 3 ini sahaja, tetapi yang the rest 4 sampai 7 ini adalah kit, ataupun tambahan, good to have, yang ke atas ni is must have, so when we talk about critical thinking and problem solving skills, in contohnya macam biology punya students, okay, they should have all these 3, okay. Okay, tapi kalau ada tambahan, mungkin ada CTPS 4, so this is encourage lah, dia ada tambahan lah, ada bonus sikit daripada pelajar-pelajar lain yang ambil course yang ataupun program yang sama. Okay. So these are the rubrics. Kalau kita tengok dalam modul tu, kita ada the rubrics for this one. And nilai KIM. So KIM kat sini katakan contoh the first one. So kita ada all these sub criteria. Okay. So kita boleh gunakan all this sebagai kita punya rubrics. Okay. So these are for LO3, CTPS. This one is for communication skills. Pun ada 3 je untuk KIM. So these are the rubrics yang boleh kita gunakan, KIM. Okay, and this one is for LO5, social skills, teamwork and responsibility. Sekarang ni jadi interpersonal skills. Okay, juga ada 3 KIM. For ethics and professionalism, LO6, kita ada 2 KIM di sini. So dia ada 3 saja level. LO7, lifelong learning. Ada 2 KIM. Dan LO8 kita ada entrepreneurship.
Dr. Hazlina,
Yes,
boleh flashback balik tak yang ethics and
ethics.
tu tadi?
Ethics. Oh, sorry.
Nak tengok rubrik untuk ethics tadi. LO6.
This one? Ke rubrics dia?
Rubrics dia. Okay. So, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doktor.
Okay. So this is for lifelong learning. So ini semua sebenarnya ada dalam modul pembangunan tadi, buku tadi tu. Sebab saya tengok dalam Google, buku tu dah habis dijual dekat UPM punya penerbit tu. So mungkin ada yang baru, saya tak pastilah. So this one is for leadership, ada the working. So kalau kita lihat kat sini untuk soft skills for leadership ni ada dua je. Dia perlukan knowledge on basic theories dan juga ability to lead a project sahaja. Tapi kalau dia boleh able to supervise group member, that is really a bonus lah. Okay. Okay. So last sekali kita pergi kepada sample of a course. Okay, so this is sample comes from biochemistry course, bio 31001, which is I taught this class. Okay, so dalam biochemistry course ini, we have about 4 CLOs. Okay, and one of the CLO assess the affective domain. Okay, so this affective domain of this course, okay, is level dia domain level of domain learning domain dia adalah A3 sahaja sampai A3. Okay, and this apa nama this affective domain tu akan dinilai melalui peer assessment, which involves the work in team working. Okay, PLO 5. Okay, so to develop this affective domain learning tu, okay, ataupun the statements for this ni, okay, so you use this MyTexo. So saya rasa semua orang dah ada this salinan copy of this MyTexo. It's very very useful when we need to create ataupun construct statements for our CLO. And then for creating ataupun construct our questions dalam kita punya assignment ataupun questions in our final exams, we can also use this MyTexo to determine the proper verb for each of the level. Okay. So daripada sini kita nampak juga all these verbs yang kata kerja yang digunakan untuk all the levels, contohnya kalau macam A3 ni, kita ada all this accept, explain, follow, form, increase, relinquish, report, okay, select dan sebagainya. Okay, so just ataupun kalau kita tak tahu, kita nak search by verbs, just letak kat table ni ataupun there's space here. And then it will come up with the either it is a cognitive, affective ataupun psychomotor. Okay, and from here juga MyTexo juga dia ada definition ataupun explanation on the action verb atau explanation. So dia boleh explain kat sini macam A3 is the worth of value a person attaches. Okay, so this valuing tadi. And then this A4 is organizing. Okay, so very useful MyTexo. Okay, and then also it can also suggest some of the assessment methods for the selected verb kat sini. So contohnya macam untuk complete ni dia ada dua related TNL taxonomy, A3 dan juga A4. So dia boleh nilai A3 ataupun A4. Okay, so A3 lebih kurang sama macam A4 saja dia punya methods ni, assessment methods ni. Okay, so from there, okay, so the biochemistry course construct a statement for the affective domain. So CLO 4, which assess the affective domain. We have this complete assigned tasks effectively by working in teams. So verb complete here ataupun working in teams. So this means that this CLO 4 assess PLO 5, which is social skills and teamwork and responsibility, because of the word here, working in teams. Okay, and this the level of affective domain is at A3 because the verb here is complete. Okay, From there, okay, transfer into MyCA, which shows the alignment, the alignment of learning outcomes, learning domains, TNL activities, as well as assessment tasks and juga weightage. Okay, so this is the ones that we are given to the students. So kalau kita lihat pada CLO 4 dia tu, complete assigned task effectively by working in teams. Learning domain dia adalah A3. So assessment methods is through peer assessment, dan weightage dia adalah a very small weightage, which is only 5%. Okay, so from here we develop the assessment tools, through the the assessment methods atau strategies is by peer assessment, and the assessment tools is through rubrics. Okay, so this is the rubrics. Okay, so kalau lihat kat sini kita ada attribute sahaja. Okay, and we have 5 scales kat sini: very weak, so satisfactory, good, dan juga very good. Okay, so how does this rubrics constructed? Okay, so these rubrics are constructed based on the team, the soft skills. Okay, so this is for teamwork. So it's this teamwork skills kat sini. Kita ada 3 team kat sini. So in this biochemistry course, we use all these 3 categories of teamwork. Kita ada foster good relationships, so the ability to build good relationships, TS1. Alternate roles, kita ada TS2 di sini. Dan untuk 3 ni kita ada this one, ability to identify and respect others peoples. Okay, so ini itu kita ambil kat sini. Okay, from there we develop these skills punya statements. Okay, so we use this rubric study, yang ditunjukkan tadi. Kim kat sini kita ada 3 sub criteria kat sini. Adaptations, for the first one kita ada adaptations, cooperations between teammates, communication skills. Kemudian kita ada regarded between others, level of engagement. So we can use any of these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ni, 8 sub criteria ataupun sub attributes, in order to assess our students. Okay, and from here, okay, and then remember that the peer assessment, okay, assess A3, hanya sampai kepada tahap A3 sahaja. Okay, so nampak dekat sini the statements for this the skills tu, okay, menggunakan the verbs yang reflect A3. Contohnya kita ada nampak share kat sini. Okay, share any ideas. Kita ada accept. Kita ada listen kat sini. Asking is a verb for A1. So this is really not okay, sebab the A1 is the lowest. Okay. Kemudian kita ada complete, also is a reflect A3 punya verbs. Okay. So in order for us to construct the rubric, sebenarnya kita kena ikut satu lagi. Sebenarnya sekarang ni kebanyakan daripada pensyarah kita tidak mengikut this ataupun tidak menggunakan this scheme and also kit punya rubrics. Okay, so it's okay. Sebab Kim dengan kit tu adalah not for a course, tapi for a program. Okay, however kena jugalah ada yang gunakan this one. Okay, so ada setengah tu yang construct the rubrics hanya menggunakan the ICGPA punya rubrics tadi. Tapi make sure the rubrics yang kita guna tu ataupun kita construct itu reflect the level of the domains yang kita nak nilai tu. So kalau macam A3, so adalah all these verbs yang guna this A3 punya ataupun yang reflect the A3. Okay. So that is all. Rasanya sampai sini sahaja untuk petang ini. Okay, so the purpose of assessment, dia ada dua perbezaan ya, sama ada assessment, okay, and then evaluation. Okay, so assessment adalah pentaksiran, evaluation adalah penilaian. So evaluation is to judge, dia bagi grade kepada ni, tetapi kalau assessment dia increase, gunanya sebagai untuk increase the quality. Okay, so these are references and also independent readings. Okay, so thanks. Any questions juga ada dalam chat? Ada soalan dalam chat? So nota ni saya akan bagi pada urusannya kepada Dila untuk dia distribute nanti. Ada soalan. Soalan?
Saya Hafizah daripada FTKKI. Saya nak tanya, ada tak dekat UMT ni, bila menilai efektif ni dia buat checklist, ada contoh tak?
Checklist ni is very simple sebenarnya. Dia cuma ada bagi point dia 1, 2, 3. Kalau digunakan the steps tu is checklist lah. Okay, katakan the first step tu kalau katakan kita nak responding kan, so mungkin kita nak dia respond pada something. So mungkin katakan okay budak ni dia macam tadi, macam civil rights tadi tu kan. So baca, the first kali step dia kena baca passage. Okay, dia baca tanda. The first step, okay. Second step, katakan dia okay, dia pergi ke library untuk cari buku lain kan. So kalau kat situ second kat situ. So the checklist is very simple saja. Dia bagi macam kita ada kita ada steps tu. So kalau pelajar itu menunjukkan yang digunakan all the steps, so kita boleh just checklist. Kalau dia complete lah. Kalau pada 10 over 10 over 10. Very simple saja.
Kiranya macam kalau kita untuk macam 10%, macam kurang sesuai lah kan untuk kita bagi markah. Kan biasanya macam kalau checklist ni macam
dia boleh jadi untuk formative tu, dan dia boleh sebenarnya dia boleh jadi summative, tapi dia macam tak ni lah juga kan. Tapi formative assessment kita boleh gunakan the checklist.
okey, nak cubalah.
Summative pun ada juga kadang-kadang yang pakai, yang guna. Tapi dia rasa macam very simple lah. Pula kan nak bagi, kita boleh bagi markah yang 10/10 tu mungkin kita boleh convert dia kepada percentage. Tapi tidak di macam simple lah pula kan.
Tapi boleh juga macam kalau sebab saya ada macam bahagian macam nak menilai tu, kita minta pelajar buatkan form lah untuk nak reflect dia punya projek lah ke apa kan. Macam kalau nak bagi rubrik tu kan, macam form tu semua orang sama je. Kalau melainkan dia buat ataupun dia tak buat kan. So bolehlah guna checklist kan.
Boleh je.
Kan, saya rasa macam boleh lah untuk semester hadapan. Okay, terima kasih doktor.
Boleh cari contoh dekat kat Google tu, banyak checklist yang boleh digunakan. Ada juga checklist yang ada nombor, ada macam skill dekat situ juga.
Kiranya kan kalau saya guna ni, kalau kena panggil, saya kena panggil masa apa ni kan, bila audit datang, kiranya ni dikira
It's one of the
sebagai
tools, tapi make sure that the checklist to reflect the domain tu lah, the level of the domain tu.
Kalau K bukan K, kalau dia level 3 macam tak sesuai kan?
Boleh je buat.
Boleh juga kan? As long as dia complete.
Dia boleh je semua, dia sampai ke A5 pun boleh. So you kena, tapi kena pandai ni lah,
kena
construct.
pandai. Okay. Alright, okay, terima kasih doktor.
Ada soalan? Kaizena tu is very useful sebab saya dah guna, Dr. Agila pun dah pernah guna kot ya Kaizena ni. It's a free apps pun, tapi pelajar kena download ataupun kena ada jugalah this apps ke dalam dia punya tu. Very useful, very very nice and user friendly jugalah this Kaizena ni kalau kita nak pakai. Ada soalan dalam chat. Okey, daripada Dr. Sabri, apa yang terbaik untuk kita sebagai pengajar sama ada evaluate atau assessment? Di mana patut kita laksanakan? Kita kena buat dua-dua sekali sebenarnya dalam kos kita. Evaluate ialah pada akhir tu, kita kena bagi nilai kan kepada pelajar, grade tu. So that is evaluation. And assessment is actually done during the course. And also at the end tu lah yang kita bagi tu. At the end of itu kan yang campuran antara continuous assessment dan juga summative assessment tu. Okay. So kedua-duanya perlu ada di dalam course. Okay. Evaluation diberi akhir sekali tu yang kita bagi grade ataupun nilai tu. Okay. That is penilaian. Okay. The overall grade. Okay. Assessment is during, sama ada the summative, the formative. Okay, so that is kind of assessment yang emphasize ataupun focus on the process of learning. Tetapi evaluation is in the emphasizes on the product of the learning. Okay, Dr. Sabri menjawab ke? Encik Farid sebagai markah komitmen untuk apa ni? Sebagai markah komitmen, maksud Cik Farid, kita nak bagi markah untuk komitmen pelajar. Yes, Dr. Zainuddin, I will share the slides. I will give the slides to the organizer. So, Pandila can submit ataupun distribute the slides later.
Thank you very much. Really, very useful information.
Okay.
About email, we can contact with you if we have any questions also.
Yes, you can find my email here. So hazlina@umt.edu.my. So of course you can.
Which faculty?
Pardon?
Do you work? Which faculty do you work?
Faculty of Science and FSSM.
FSSM.
Faculty of Science and Marine Environment. UMT.
FSSM. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Checklist sebagai markah komitmen. Kita nak guna checklist sebagai markah komitmen. Boleh? Boleh guna checklist? Make sure yang kita construct the checklist tu reflect lah what kind of assessment yang kita nak buat ataupun at which parts ataupun task yang kita nak bagi markah kan. Tapi jarang orang gunakan this checklist sebagai tools. Tapi however, that is the simplest tools that we can use. Either for affective dan juga kita boleh gunakan komotor sekali sebenarnya. Checklist tersebut sebagai tools, one of the tools.
Hazlina,
Yes, saya. Cik Farid
berkenaan dengan apa checklist, soalan saya checklist markah komitmen tu, contoh ni kalau digunakan dalam amali kan, amali tu ada step-step yang dia kena buat kan, ada step dia manual tu, jadi pencapaian tu boleh ditikkan dia dah capai pada contoh ada 10 steps kan, jadi dia dah buat sampai 10 steps tu, maksudnya maka penuh lah kita bagi komitmen macam tu, boleh ke?
Boleh. So mungkin kita boleh bahagikan the checklist tu macam ada 10 langkah tu. The first 5 kata basic punya. Contohnya kalau kita nak nilai A3 sampai P lah sebab dia amali kan. So contohnya kalau amali tu kalau kita nak buat sampai P3. So P1 step 1 sampai 3. Selalu kalau dia dah capai 1 hingga 3 tu dia dah ada all these steps tu dia buat. So kita tahu that students have achieved P1. Lepas tu 3 atau sampai 6 katakan is for P2 ataupun kemudiannya the rest tu for P3. So kalau dia dapat semua checklist ataupun steps yang dia pakai tu, so that means that the students has achieved what we want them to achieve lah with P3 tu.
Terima kasih.
Dr. Hazlina, Akilah here.
Yes, Akila.
Tadi saya ada juga screenshot a few notes yang pasal value domain daripada A1 to A5. Kan, lepas tu Dr. Hazlina ada mention ada 2 domain, maknanya A1, A2 for basic, A3, A4 intermediate, A5 advanced kan? And then untuk undergraduates dia kena sampai A3 sahaja ya? Betul?
Ya, A3 saja. Tapi ada boleh lebih tapi yang kalau boleh dalam satu program tu sampai A3 tu kena ada lah.
Oh, dia tak semestinya
Dia-
kena sampai A4, A5 tu maksudnya.
Kalau for advanced courses yang rasa yang macam advanced kan lanjutan macam elective kadang-kadang tu boleh capai juga A5, A4 tu. So
Advance
boleh juga kena.
mungkin saya I miss this information lah sebab dari segi intermediate dengan advance bila saya tengok saya punya syllabus balik dari segi topik tu dah jadi advance lah ni padahal dia bukan khusus lanjutan. So mungkin kena revise lah yang bahagian tu. So saya rasa notes yang bahagian yang competency levels yang difference between basic, intermediate, advanced ni saya baru dapat this info. So mungkin kena revise balik lah dari segi saya punya
Basic, intermediate, advanced tu bukan yang macam bukan for courses, basic courses, intermediate courses atau advanced courses tau. Okay. This one is for the competency level tu. Basic punya competency level adalah A1, A2 saja. Very basic. Macam cognitive kan dia ada HOTS dan juga LOTS kan.
Betul.
So LOTS tu adalah macam LOTS lah tapi dia macam basic for affective dia jadi basic intermediate macam tu lah. So that is not for yang saya bagi basic, intermediate and advanced tu is not for courses, not for basic course macam ataupun program macam diploma dan sebagainya, certificate dan sebagainya. Okay? So
Ya. So yang itu kiranya sebenarnya lagi is an eye opener jugalah untuk saya check balik untuk saya punya course tu. Sebab saya rasa saya bagi domain tu untuk A tu terlalu tinggi kot untuk level belajar tu. So boleh saya akan tengok balik lah yang tu.
So in order sebenarnya untuk kita plan our course ni untuk assessment ni semakin tinggi level dia semakin banyak kita kena perhati, kita kena nilai sebenarnya. So kalau boleh tu dan semakin banyak apa yang kita nak sampaikan dalam kelas tu, the teaching and learning activities tu should be kan dia kena lebih tinggi macam lebih banyak kita nak kena ni pelajar kan. So kalau boleh A3 pun okey lah for a course dalam undergraduate punya course.
Okay, saya akan take note yang tu. Terima kasih doktor.
Okay. Ada soalan lain? Any other questions? So sebenarnya kalau tak ada questions sebenarnya saya ada buat satu aktiviti sebenarnya. Sekejap ya, saya letakkan dalam chat ni. So this quiz you can buat this quiz. Tapi ada tak banyak soalan, ada 5 soalan je sebenarnya. Tapi you can ni. Okay. Okay, dan untuk latihan ataupun tegasan for this today's talk ni, this one, macam mana ya saya boleh copy ke chat. Macam mana Dila kita how do we do
Doktor,
this?
saya dah bagi link Google Form, Doktor.
Okay, so ada dalam Google Form. Okay. So this is the activity yang diperlukan untuk for attendance today kan. So give one example of course learning outcome which measures the affective domain, and from the example state the PLO assess, the competency level, strategy or method applied, and teaching and learning tools used, and give one example of the tools. So contohnya kalau gunakan rubrics, so give an example of the rubrics. So, kalau tak ada soalan lagi, saya rasa kita boleh berhenti di sini lah kan, Dila?
Boleh, Doktor.
So, thank you very much to all participants. I hope what I gave you today is useful and can be used for your course. Okay. So, if you have any questions or any clarification that needs to be clarified, okay, you can just email me. Okay, so thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera.
Okey, terima kasih diucapkan kepada Profesor Madya Dr. Hazlina di atas perkongsian berkenaan dengan latihan tadi. Mohon semua untuk mengisi borang maklum balas latihan seperti mana link yang telah dipostkan di ruangan chat. Dan untuk makluman juga, peserta akan diberikan tugasan berkaitan latihan pada petang ini. Kehadiran akan direkod selepas tugasan dihantar. Link tugasan juga telah dipostkan dalam ruangan chat dan PPBI akan emailkan juga link tersebut kepada semua peserta. Sekali lagi, terima kasih diucapkan kepada doktor dan semua peserta yang hadir daripada awal sehingga akhir. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera.